Welcome back, guys. So we were at the Capital show recently, and when I showed you last week what we picked up, obviously we had some Mantis Den enclosures, the 20 by 20 cubes. I bought a few of them because I wanted to try and move some of the spiders up from the 15 cubes into the 20s. Even though it doesn't seem like a lot when you're only talking about 5 centimeters in each direction, volumetric space increases by quite a bit. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to do that today. I'm going to build them slightly differently because I've not tried this yet, but obviously you can't get a silicone gun into one of those enclosures once you've built it correctly with the lid on and everything through that tiny door. You're not going to be able to silicone down the front without making an awful mess. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and build it without the roof. I think there's going to be a little bit of flex in it to be able to then put the roof in afterwards and see how we get on anyway. It's an experiment. Let's have a look. So we have 20 by 20 Mantis Den enclosure, and we need to modify some of these before using them. So what do we have in here? Well, we have our base front plate, we have our door, with our base, we have our back, we have our lid with pre-drilled holes, and we have our sides. Now these sides obviously have two lots of air holes either side. What we're going to do is just add an extra row down the middle on both this side and this side before we take this off. Once we've done that, then we can peel this back and we'll have our nice holes all pre-drilled. So let's quickly do that. All done. So we've got our holes drilled in the middle now. Don't know how clear that comes up on camera, but as you can see, oh there you go, nice angle. You can see that we've got our extra holes drilled in the middle just to give a little bit of extra ventilation, and we've taken the protective film off of these ones. All we need to now do is take the films off of these ones and then we'll put it together. But what we're going to do today is we're going to put it together not how the instructions say. We're going to put the base together, leave the lid off so that we can silicone around the base, and then hopefully that will stop any of the potential leaking that we sometimes get with these type of elastic band enclosures. So let's take these off, shall we? Right, so that's all the protection off. So now all we've got to do is get some of the base stuff together with the silica, with the elastic bands, and then we'll get the bottom siliconed. So this is the base done. So normally you'd put the roof in and the elastic bands in as you build this so that you can get it square. But what I've done is I've built the bottom part, put all the elastic bands in. The lid, what we can do is, because I haven't put any of the bands in, we'll be able to sort of slide this in by moving the sides open a little bit of play in there, just so that we can get the silicone in first, get this bottom half sealed. Hopefully we will then have a decent setup. So we'll go to the silicone in now. And we're back in the room with our bases all siliconed up to the first rubber bands on all the corners, front and back. Doesn't look too terrible, and yes, you can see it in this sort of light, but once we get the substrates in here, you're not going to be able to notice this. Not going to be able to notice it at all. Now the awkward part is going to be getting the lid in while the elastic bands are there, but I do think that the way that this is done now, without the elastic bands being in the top, this should just be able to pop apart a little bit. We should be able to get a purchase on these without forcing it too much. without breaking it. There we go. Into the slots and in. So that's how we're going to do it. And it's just a case of putting the bands in the top and around the upper sides on the back, and then we can let this cure properly. It has been curing for a while, it's just obviously let the fumes die down a little bit before you put it back in your tea room at all. Let it dry, give it a couple of days. But yeah, so I think if you're going to seal it, it's going to be the easiest way to do it is without the lid on. Smaller cubes might have more of a problem, just simply because of the actual purchase you're going to get and the flex you're going to get. I think the larger ones you're going to get a little bit more give with bending the tops of the sides out whilst you do this, but the 20x20s you might, you know, the 15s might be okay, but I think the smaller ones than that, 10x10's probably not got a chance of doing it. Right, let's make sure we've got elastic bands on everything. We do, and that is your lot. It's pretty square, sits quite nicely on the desk. The only thing we've got to do now is put the door in, which I'm actually going to drill some more holes on the door just for this spider, and then jobs are good. Anyway, right, let's go back to talk about the giveaway. Right, well, I think putting that together was quite easy. I did forget to put the door in, but luckily there was enough flex in it to actually be able to pop the door in without sort of snapping off the tiny little end clip as well. But yes, the silicone looked pretty tidy. I've got to let it cure for a couple of days, see how it goes, and then we're going to be putting a spider into that. And hopefully, once we've got the substrate in, we can give it a good rinse and make sure nothing sort of flows out. I will update you on it. If it doesn't work, we'll readdress that and figure out another way. There are other things you can buy for it, things like Tensol 12, which has carcinogenic properties, so not sure if I want to mess with that, but it's more like a weld. It actually bonds the acrylic to the acrylic rather than just sealing. Silicone works for a period of time, sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes it comes unstuck, but it should be fine for these enclosures. Anyway, just a quick update. The giveaway, there's still another week, just under a week actually, until Monday the 8th. You've got to get your entries in before that if you are interested in winning the Isopod mystery box that we've generously been donated. There's going to be like 7 to 9 species in there. I won't say what they are, but it's a nice prize. So if you're into isopods and you haven't entered yet, go check last week's video. Details are in there, and follow the instructions and send your entries in. I'll be drawing that next week on the 10th on the live. So yeah, that's about it really. If you did enjoy this video, give it a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing if you're not, and we'll see you live on the 10th. Catch you later.